Welcome to Aero Velocity's Drone On podcast. I'm your host, Will Gilland, and I get the privilege to speak with drone innovators and industry leaders and experts and allow them to drone on about their experiences in the drone industry and learn about trends and pretty much anything drone related we'll talk about. And so my first guest is Tommy Sunderhaus. Tommy is the UAS program coordinator at Sinclair College in Dayton, Ohio. And we're going to find out about how Sinclair is prepping students for careers in the drone industry. And we're going to talk with Tommy about his background with drones. You know, he's worked for companies like Amazon Prime Air and Precision Hawk, and that just to name a few. I'll let him talk about that in the episode, but stick around, stay tuned for upcoming episodes. Next week, I'm talking with Eric Schultz of Liberty Drones, and he's going to tell us about his projects using drones for cleaning windows in buildings, and that's a pretty fascinating concept. So like and subscribe and follow along. Follow us on Aero Velocity's page, and we'll go ahead and get started. Thanks.
Yeah, so definitely. And first, I want to thank you, Will, for inviting me onto this podcast and letting me share a little bit about Sinclair's UAS program that we have here. Like Will mentioned, my name is Tommy Sunderhaus. I'm the UAS program coordinator for Sinclair Community College's Aviation Technology Department, where we focus on 4-credit college courses. So we offer short-term certificates, we offer one-year technical certificates, associate's degrees, and we even have a bachelor's degree, which is really awesome for a community college to be able to have that we offer a bachelor's of that applied sciences. So over the years, Sinclair's just grown its program to one of the most advanced in the country, I think. We've been really trying to make ourselves stick out and really been trying to stay up with the most current technology. Most of our focus has been on equipping students with knowledge, skills, and really trying to get that hands-on experience needed to succeed in the ever-changing and evolving UAS industry. We try to focus on photogrammetry, thermal imaging, even trying to implement some of the new stuff with advanced air mobility. As some know, Joby is planning on moving their facility over here in Dayton, so getting in on the ground floor of that to introduce our students to have a new possibility of future of what that might look like. And being in the Dayton area, being at that forefront of aviation like the Wright brothers were, we like to be in on the ground floor to make sure that we're there for advancing the future and having the students to change how the area is and increase their feasibility and livelihood and job seeking in the Dayton area and keeping talent local here as well as bringing them down to you down at Aero Velocity. We're really excited to kind of bring and partner with Aero Velocity on our career pathway and having you work with our students, providing them internships, possible employment after graduation, and not only just in general UAS, right? You guys are focusing on broad spectrums. You're helping conservation efforts. You're helping the minority farmers of the South. You guys are really helping out the areas and really helping us in agriculture to really help out the country and really help out the people who need it for that. So it's really great to kind of partner with such a company and working with you guys on that, as well as giving our students that great real world experience that they need, where we can have students get real world UAS flying experience, flying larger aircraft that you guys are running, running LiDAR operations, having you guys are up to a $100,000 LiDAR sensor and things like that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
pretty awesome getting the students involved with that technology, as well as the multispectral that you all focus on as well, which is really cool. But also helps our students who might not be as interested in the piloting aspect, because you guys have started that technician role and the technician side of the business, as well as the data processing. So our folks who like more hands-on, helping repair drones, helping your guys' business succeed, really is an awesome thing for us to pursue and focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I remember like when I was in college, I don't think drones were even an offered, course. They had, obviously aviation and kind of airline type pilot roles, but um, how long has Sinclair been around, or how long has this program been going for?
Yeah, so Sinclair's been around for a while. The college itself has been around since the 1800s,
Wow.
but our UAS program has been around since 2008, I believe, which really
Wow.
predates Part 107 by 8 years. So we've been
Wow.
around during the Section 333 days and everything else before that, trying
Yeah.
to work with the area. First, we started off as, I believe, the UAS Center. Which some of you folks might have heard of, you've heard of probably. They really focus on a lot of the workforce development. So people like
Hmm.
not for college credit. We have a program here called Ohio Tech Cred that people can apply through it for, but it's for people who want to send their employees for like 2-day trainings, week trainings, things like that on different aircraft and that. But we did a lot of research doing that until we finally started to develop our technical certificate and our associate's degree out of that program. So really, for a while that's how that program was being developed. I believe since like 2011, maybe 12. Don't count me on that, but we've been trying to work with that and predating 107 and getting a program built up was definitely a challenge back then. Before that, so changing with that, with the ever evolving atmosphere, has been a challenge, but we've been able to do it pretty successfully. And then we were fortunate enough back in 2019 to introduce our Bachelor's of Applied Sciences. So offering the students that tuition rate and the local community that accessibility. And we're actually the first ones in the state of Ohio to offer a Bachelor's of Applied Science and UAS in the entire state, which is really cool.
Wow.
I
That's
think a
awesome.
really cool feat. But the really
Yeah.
awesome thing kind of sets us apart, really helps us is we have that reduced tuition fee for us local here in Dayton, Ohio, over in Montgomery County. Our local sectors and our local communities really help out and really support Sinclair and our endeavors to meet the need. It's really awesome and really great opportunity. And with that as well, we have local levies and areas where we really work to get tuition rates down. So we have some of the lowest tuition rates in the state of Ohio, if not the area, which is really cool. So getting students the technology and the work experience for that reduced price is really great to help those students.
Yeah. Yeah. And you had mentioned getting some of the work experience and kind of circling back to, internship type programs. You know, as a student of Sinclair, that's kind of a big, or that would be a big ticket item for me as a, you know, I think a lot of times people get into a degree and then they're like, well, um, I need to have something on my resume before I can get hired. But before I can get hired, I have to have something on my resume. So it's kind of that catch 22. And I think Sinclair is doing a really good job of that, kind of trying to set their students up with different type of internship and some of the experience. Speaking of experience, what kind of drones and sensors do you guys kind of teach with or work with at your college?
Yeah, so we try to boast a pretty broad set of tools and technology that I think few other institutions can match. I'm sure there's others out there that can that have really good technology. For example, we use integrated state-of-the-art drones like the Aurelia X8 and X6 system made here in the United States, supporting the local drone economy here. We've really integrated that into our training along with some advanced payloads, which include like Sony A6000 electro-optical cameras, as well as working with MicaSense cameras as well. So working with their red edge sensors and really trying to investigate and implement multispectral and
Mhm.
precision agriculture type applications, as well as working with FLIR technologies and FLIR studios to get those students trained and have critical learning on infrared thermal technology. So we use a variety of different payloads from the FLIR View Pro, which is a little bit older of a sensor, but everything still kind of applies and it's still widely used in some of the industry. And we also have the Autel Evos with the 640Ts and the Max that we get our students trained on, which is
Mhm.
pretty awesome, working with some of those drones and that technology, as well as getting our students experience on our Centera Phoenix through Centera
Oh, wow.
Systems up in, I believe they're based out of Minnesota. So again, trying to support that local U.S. drone economy and keeping that kind of in-house. But it's a really cool aircraft, about a 5-foot wingspan, really used for precision agriculture. We
Mhm.
run that with RGB camera and near infrared to get stand counts and crop health. So really working with that kind of technology has set us apart, as well
Mhm.
as we worked with a company called Merlin Aerospace that used to be local here in Dayton. I believe that company's since moved on, but I'd have to check with that. But we started our tank initiative, and that's a TNK, not like the ground vehicle. So
Mhm.
that program has our little quadcopter, probably 12 inches by 12 inches, completely composite materials, pretty much built like a tank, so we can bounce it off walls. That we use for really training our students. So we
Mhm.
start off by getting them familiar with the aircraft and getting them flying on some of those things to where they have that GPS assistance and stability assistance, but we can remove that by running ArduPilot or PX4 based systems on it. So we're able to put that in stabilized flight mode to really take away that GPS stabilization. Because as we've found out through industry and working with partners as well, we've noticed that people have been wanting pilots who can actually fly the drones without GPS stabilization. A
Mhm.
lot of companies have become really reliant on the DJI aircraft, Autel. They're really simple to fly. You pick it up, you go, you launch it, right? Really easy, which is how they've been so successful. But we've noticed that companies are really looking for it. I believe your chief pilot and director of operations expressed that to me as well, that they wanted students who really had that hand knowledge skill, as well as working with companies like Silent Falcon and some of those others who were really impressed that we were teaching on larger heavy lift copters like our Aurelia X8 that can do about 13 to 17 pounds of payload. Getting them
Mhm.
involved with that bigger system and cutting off some of those GPS stabilizations to ensure that if something does go wrong, our pilots have the skills and the knowledge to recover that. So we really start them out there on some of those smaller drones before working them up to the bigger ones, because we want to make sure we keep our good equipment intact and working tactfully through that. But really part of that tank initiative as well is getting really that pilot training. But we also have a composites lab at Sinclair on our Dayton campus. So we teach, we have an advanced maintenance course and a normal UAS maintenance course where we teach basic soldering skills, how to put drones together, running torque drivers, as well as laying composite materials. So we teach them how to lay the composite materials. We just started implementing vacuum bagging and trying to get more into a
Oh, wow.
manufacturing kind of mind state doing that. And so the students will learn how to lay that carbon fiber. We'll set it on a CNC machine where we have all the parts and the files for that to where we can cut out and manufacture our own parts. So if the
Oh, wow.
students were to break the drone or crash the drone or anything, they'll have that knowledge to fix it and build it, which is
Mhm.
really, really cool. And we've started to really try to implement some 3D printers in that. And we've recently invested in some bamboo printers, especially their carbon fiber infused filament to increase that structural strength to give our students the best up-to-date technology to really help them grow and really help the program out there and get them the most experience with the most technology that's out there and available to them, which is really cool. We really try to focus on that operations side, but we really
Mhm.
do delve into other areas as well. We've partnered with Pix4D. We're actually a certified training center for them. So you can come to Sinclair and get certified on Pix4D Mapper and Pix4D Fields. And you can actually find me on their website as a certified trainer for Sinclair, which is really cool. But we delve into electro-optical, teaching students how to do the 3D models, how to make the orthomosaics, how to create those types of aerial data that people are looking for, as well as running volumetric scans and even getting rough digital elevation models with some contour lines that can be really useful to them. as well as, like I mentioned before, that thermography. Started implementing some thermography certifications in that, working with, I was certified a while ago through ITC with their thermography program. So I'm trying to bring just some thermal knowledge and teaching them fun, fancy words like emissivity and everything to really narrow down the types of skills that you guys can expect when they come to a company like yours. You know that they're going to give you the best quality data and everything else, as well as having those certifications. And as well as running with multispectral data. So we have a multispectral data processing class where we really delve into precision agriculture. We really delve into different types of indices and how to monitor them, utilizing Pix4D's AI tools, and even starting to delve into doing geology work with it, trying to find minerals from the air. And can we identify what this rock type formation is? Can we identify this mineral? How can we do that? So really trying to delve into the research in that area has been really cool working with that. But like I mentioned, with our bachelor's degree and everything else, we have those smaller programs that people can get involved in, and everything's stacked tier wise. So all your credits from like the short-term certificate build into the 1 year, which builds into the associates, which builds into the bachelor's. So if you start like, hey, I don't know what I want to do, you can come into one of our like technical programs or short-term certificates, be like, this is really cool. You can apply all those credits upwards and continue on your education. As well as, I know school's not for everybody. You know, me working for a college, don't like me saying that all the time, but I get it. Industry's different. Industry's changing all the time. But even when you're pursuing your bachelor's degree, if you wanted to step back for a second from school, you might have enough credits to apply for our associate's degree. So you could graduate with an associate's degree or even a technical certificate that would apply throughout that industry, so that they would get that certification and that college education. And then they can come back to Sinclair whenever they want to, and they can pick up right where they left off, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, but some of the programs that we have includes precision agriculture.
Hmm.
Delving into that, Ohio's big on the agriculture and working with them. So we got a lot of students there. Working with our geospatial information systems is another concentration short-term certificate that we do, where we have them work with our built environment department to do surveying, mapping, with certified surveyors, getting an understanding of that basic general knowledge as well as some ArcGIS knowledge. We have a
Hmm.
first responders program as well, to delve into some of that, working with EMS, fire, police, accident investigation, and work like that, trying to work with local PD and local officials to try to get kind of what we're trying to build out. So we're in the process of reviewing that certificate, working more with our local police and stuff that I've had reach out who are interested in talking with Sinclair and getting their take on everything, and possibly providing training to local enforcement that could really benefit the community, really help bring that technology out as well.
Hmm.
Um, and then I mentioned the data analysis. We have a short-term certificate in that, and all these short-term certificates that I'm talking about all flow into those other degrees. So that's what you pick as your concentration for that. So it's really cool doing that as part of our bachelor's degree. We have our data analysis built into there, so you'd pick one of the other ones. But what's really cool about our bachelor's as well is we offer artificial intelligence and autonomous systems short-term certificate. So we're really
Wow.
trying to grow into the future, and we've had this program for a couple of years now, actually. Like before
Mhm.
everything started to get really big into that. Like I said, we're trying to be on that forefront of industry to capture it and keep it there. So artificial intelligence, really working with Python, working with machine learning, even getting into aviation, aerospace, object identification, and how it might apply to drones, and that, which is really cool.
Yeah.
Delve into some of that research and swarming drone technologies and that. So really trying to keep on the forefront of that. That we're really excited about that program and running it. So.
Yeah. It seems like that the program is constantly evolving and kind of adapting to where the industry's growing and how quickly it's growing. I feel like in the early days of the drone industry, it was mostly like photography, and then kind of started transitioning to LiDAR, and then now it's like you said, first responders and all these different types of groups are growing, looking for minerals. I was actually in a webinar earlier today that was discussing using gamma radiation sensors on drones to detect soil, different types of soil contents, and being able to use them to find areas where you could put a well in out west. So it's really fascinating how the industry is evolving and how Sinclair is keeping up with that evolution.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we've been really trying hard. Yeah, the drone industry has definitely changed a lot over the years. I think the future really is in some of the advanced air mobility, though that's going to get tricky. The FAA is still trying to figure out where they're going to go with that, how they're going to do with that. So we've been monitoring that to try to stay up and current with it, as well as really the sensors. I think sensors is the future. Data is the future. It's not
Mm-hmm.
going to go anywhere. And LiDAR has been the hot ticket lately. We're trying really hard to get in, getting a LiDAR system, trying to work and figure out ways to get funding and applications to do that with. And that's really what we've enjoyed partnering with you guys on as well, because just the LiDAR technology, LiDAR applications that you guys have is really what we want to delve into. And I believe that's kind of the future that people have been starting to use it as. So, but yeah, I've been in the industry now for what, 10, almost 10 years now. So
Yeah.
originally I started school back in 2015, going to a school called Lewis University up in Romeoville, Illinois. It's right outside of Chicago there, which is it was really cool going up there. While I was there, initially I was going for manned aviation, right? So I got my private
Mm-hmm.
pilot license. I have an instrument rating as well. Initially started going for that, and all the drone stuff caught my eyes. And like I said, being from Ohio, doing the Wright brothers thing, I really just wanted to get into kind of the forefront and what it would look like. So back in 2015, right, like before Part 107 as it came out in 2016. So it was a kind of interesting thing starting to get taught on all the Section 333 until 107 came out. I was fortunate enough to have my pilot license when it came out, so just applied straight to it, got the
Mm-hmm.
pilot license, and I have to worry about taking the test, which is really cool. But I really enjoyed my experience up there, and I had some really great opportunities where I actually got an internship with the Department of Energy, working with Argonne National Laboratories. I was an aviation co-op intern up there, really focusing on international drone regulations when everybody was still trying to figure everything out. EASA, the European Aviation Association, Civil Aviation Authority of the United Kingdom, Australia, other places like that, really delving into how the world was starting to regulate drones and what they were looking at,
Mm-hmm.
which was really kind of cool. As well as I got the unique opportunities to get on with a lot of conservation efforts, environmental efforts that our organization was trying to run at the time. We did a lot of forest investigation and prairie investigation to see different environmental effects. Could we determine if water was going to evaporate after a storm? At what rate does it evaporate? Does that affect the health of the plants and everything, as well as healthy canopies? To do crop health. So we really worked with fixed wing applications, as well as some of the older technologies like the Arion Sky Ranger, which was bought by FLIR, who was bought by Teledyne, right? Ever evolving drone area. So I really got on with them, and that led to some awesome experience that I think has really helped me kind of flourish in the industry, as well as getting on. We did some work with the FBI. Our
Oh,
school
wow.
and everything partnered up with the FBI, doing a small little grant for them,
Mm-hmm.
doing some really cool stuff that we really worked with. That got me some really awesome exposure to the industry and how everybody looked at drones and working with that. So it was really cool. But I think that really helped me out the gate. I was part of some of the first classes to ever get a bachelor's degree in UAS back in, I think I graduated 2018,
Mm-hmm.
December. So really getting on with that, as well as working with Argonne National Labs and having that UAS experience. I got hired on by a company called Precision Hawk. So
Mm-hmm.
they were, massive company, drone service provider. doing that, but I got hired on to come out to California after the Paradise fires. And it's really sad what's going on with LA right now. It's really sad what happened to Paradise and that. But I was deployed after there with that team running as a logistics coordinator. So, really coordinating, doing transmission and distribution line inspections for them. So, that was a really cool, unique experience where I went everywhere from Eureka all the way down to Fresno, California, doing transmission line inspections. I was really responsible for working with our local team leads in order to gain knowledge and help them assign pilots to what poles needed to be collected, when they needed to be collected, how they did, as well as conducting our morning safety briefing, which I think was really cool. I was 22 at the time, talking to older people who have been in the industry for a while, like they were operating drones and all kinds of that, and they're all listening to me in the circle as I give these safety briefs with that bachelor's degree knowledge that I think really offered a lot of help in my man pilot aviation, to where I knew what I was talking about. They respected me, and really coming out with that degree and coming out with that knowledge, I think helped set me apart and helped set me up compared to somebody else who might just enter the industry generically.
Mhm.
Really cool. But we worked with the manned aviation team of the power company out there to make sure that none of our drones hit helicopters inspecting the lines or
Yeah.
anything else. And then I ran data quality control assurance. So making sure all the data was good, seeing if there was any issues with that, and then turning it into the parent company for them to be able to inspect and ensure that no insulators, no wire was drooping or anything was damaged or missing. And I was fortunate enough to get out on the flight line as well as a sensor operator. We were running DJI Inspired 2, still like one of my favorite drones out there. Just
Yeah.
the landing gear, just the flip up. I'm like, yes.
Holds up. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like,
So
okay.
cool.
I was like, yeah, let's go. I'm like, this is such a cool drone, first drone job. I'm like, let's go.
Hmm.
So really getting out there, it was really cool. So we did a lot of operations and everything. And I was fortunate enough to set myself apart while I was out there through hard work, dedication, and that. And their company hired me full time as a LiDAR drone pilot out of their Raleigh, North Carolina branch. So I really moved out there and I assisted them with all kinds of flying. I was under Jamie Young and Jill Wren, who are some really renowned LiDAR experts in the industry. It's really cool working with them and learning from them as well. But they had me traveling all over the country as soon as I landed. It was like, let's go. It was landed, plane landed, hit the ground. I unpacked my bag and it was like out the door. So I went to places like Palo Alto, California, doing railroad inspections. I went down to Pensacola, Florida, and flew a helicopter area down there, military base down there, which was really exciting and cool, as well as getting with construction sites and local construction companies, and even flying power lines, because power lines are everywhere and people need them a lot. So we worked a lot in Pennsylvania and down in Florida, even went out to Texas for doing some power line inspections with LiDAR and getting those captured and scanned into the system with not only a Regal LiDAR system, but as well as collecting electro-optical data in order to colorize those points, which is really cool. I mainly focused on just flying, didn't really do much of the processing, but
Hmm.
really got that operational experience, which was really cool. But as I'm sure some viewers, you as well, are aware, Precision Hawk had a little like overturning. So during that upset later in my tenure there, I ended up getting contacted by Amazon Prime Air's drone department. So
Hmm.
I got hired on with them, and they flew me out to back out to Chicago. Um, so it was kind of cool being near my university and that, kind of traveling, circling the country, and going back to Chicago to work with Amazon and really helping the drone delivery industry when we thought it was going to be a really great kind of movement forward in that.
Hmm.
Really, my job out there was to do data collection. So we ran some more known OEM, which is original equipment manufacturer drones, to collect different types of data. So thermal data, EO data, a little bit of LiDAR, not a whole lot, in order to help build some of Amazon's autonomous systems. So
Wow.
they helped build that because Amazon systems wanted to be completely autonomous, running themselves. So they needed somebody to build out the data. So I was really responsible, and I was a part of a team of like 10 pilots that we ran and did that. So I helped here, and then even went out to our main headquarters out in Seattle to really get trained on different drones and get trained on that. And it was a really unique opportunity because they were trying to get their 135 and operating under that type of envelope, which was totally different than like Precision Hawk. We were running under just 107 rules. Like we had to follow very specific guidelines. Our drones had to be certified. We had actual A&P mechanics who had to work on the drones. Like if we had a little landing gear spring off that we could just easily go up and put on, no, we had to stop. We had to bring it all the way back to the maintenance shop to put that. That's how dedicated that company was to keeping everything safe, and that's how stringent the FAA has been on some of those regulations as well. But we really kept operations safe, really did really awesome things in that area working with them. Um, Eventually, that site ended up getting closed down because Chicago is a windy city, and it grounded us a lot, I would say. So, with our drones having such a massive payload, we weren't able to fly uh, in super high winds. And Chicago is kind of known for that a little bit. Not just because it's windy, but the Windy City was from the World Fair back in the day. You get into whole history, but we don't need that. Unless you guys are interested, I can pop back on and we can go through a whole history of that. Or you can come down to Sinclair. I got a whole like UAS remote sensing class. We go through the history of it. Like we got it. Let's go.
I can see your professor, your teaching style coming out. You got to keep the students engaged.
Yeah, we try.
Definitely with your background, it's very fascinating. Everybody's heard of Amazon and ordered stuff from Amazon, so thinking that getting your stuff delivered to your house from a drone just sounds so cool, and I think it's really kind of helped propel the drone interest. A lot of not only investors and that type of world, but just people that you know always thought of drones as for pictures and video, now can see use case scenarios. Somebody that's probably not familiar at all with LiDAR, but they could see an Amazon drone delivering something to their house.
Yeah,
That's really fascinating. So
definitely. And that's kind of what attracted me to where we ended up meeting when I got hired on at Workhorse Aero at the time. But when I joined Workhorse Aero's department, it was a very like garage startup kind of thing initially. It was me and two other pilots. I think you were our fourth pilot that came on. So there wasn't a lot of
yep.
us. It was like 10 of us around the office, 11 of us around the office, kind of working on this technology to get your guys' the original concept of it, of the delivery drone launching out of the electric vehicle with our old horsefly unit. We were kind of a jack of all trades.
Yeah.
We worked on everything, right? So we did the maintenance on it. Like I helped write some of those motors attachments and how to wire up ESCs and everything before you and your team later on built out that whole assembly line for our Horsefly units and Falcon units that really ran well, that you guys actually perfected. So really great work on that. But yeah,
When you had mentioned, some of your students, you do a lot of that hands-on training and stuff that where, even if you're a pilot, you can fix that type of stuff. That was kind of ringing in my head, like how many times as a pilot we ended up fixing or designing or, having to fix stuff out in the field, and kind of, it's not just flying drones, it's a lot of problem solving. Even with off the shelf drones, there's sometimes something may break, but you need to finish the job, and so you kind of have to figure out ways to get to the next step, and that's something that at Aero Velocity our pilots run into quite often. Seth, our chief pilot, just recently had a situation with the landing gear, and they had to figure out a way because they've got a job to do, but they can't wait for parts that may be 4 weeks out to come in. So when you were talking about that, that kind of rang home.
Yeah, y'all got to stop breaking my babies. For the viewers, I say that out of love because I helped start that whole kind of like identity that you guys been running off. I'll toot my horn a little bit, but really
Absolutely.
working with Alan and you as well, working with some of our old predecessors, getting that side of the business built up with our Department of Energy grants. I mean, we built that from the ground up. It was started as we were doing the drone delivery stuff, and this became like a side project that's really
Mhm.
blossomed into your guys' identity, doing millions of dollars in revenue, which is super cool to see how that's grown. But yeah, I remember setting up and remember scouting out the LiDARs and trying to convince them what units to get, buying the aircraft and doing all that. So really have come to like love those drones and some of those sensors and everything else kind of coming into
Yeah.
which has been really cool to see that. But yeah, I remember doing a lot of the planning with some of our leads and Alan going down. I think I was on every Mississippi trip, every like Arkansas USDA trip that we did, but I think one. I think I got out of one. Um, so running all those flights, doing all that advanced technology, not only with the LiDAR, but with the multispectral and running that for our partners down at USDA NRCS,
Mhm.
even like minority farmers of the South, working with them. It was a really cool opportunity. And then that's where really I learned how to process all the data. So really
Yeah.
competent, really good at processing that Pix4D fields, even processing that LiDAR data when we brought on your guys's Matt Ball. What's up, Matt?
Mhm.
I'm kidding. But working with them has been, yeah, just great helping get them trained up. And even your chief pilot, I trained him up on all the LiDAR sensors and LiDAR operations and everything else. And I think that's really too how we've been able to develop this good partnership because I know what y'all need as well. And now I'm just working with you to get students set up, getting us the future, making sure Sinclair stays at that forefront, and we're working on getting other advisory partners as well. So if anybody watching the podcast or throughout the area is interested, we're looking for people for our advisory board. To just make sure that we have the most up-to-date information. We're looking to hopefully host our first one, kind of looking at that, just having one-on-one meetings with prospective advisory boards probably this summer. We're hoping to do that to at least get an idea, get those industry partners to get our students those jobs to flow into. So I've been with Sinclair since April of last year. Started April 1st. It was a nice little April Fool's joke on my department that I always joke with them about. So, but no, it's definitely good times of trying to ensure that we keep the program updated, and we're working on updating curriculum and everything else as well to keep up with that. So really cool.
Yeah. With kind of doing some of the update and some of your students leaving to go on to work with jobs in the drone industry, what are some of the other trends that you're seeing? I know you mentioned AI is kind of a big one, and that's continuing on. Precision agriculture, which Aero Velocity is heavily invested in, and something. But what are some other trends that you kind of see?
So some other trends that I've been seeing that we're trying to adapt with is that we've seen a lot of companies starting their own drone departments, right?
Mhm.
So people drones are tools. We didn't originally we thought that drones was going to be like the manned aviation, right? If you're a maintenance technician, you're a certified maintenance technician. You're a pilot, you're a pilot.
Mhm.
But it's kind of turned into, well, when you're in the drone industry, you do all of these trades. But as well, if you're grounded or something, you need to have another skill, another facet to be able to kind of go into, whether it's processing or something else that we've seen start to develop over the years. And a lot of these companies have been starting their own internal things like the Department of Transportation in Indiana, here in Ohio, local companies that really have started surveying companies that take surveyors and train them as drone pilots. So this is good and it's bad, right? So it's good that we're getting more people. The drones are becoming and being used as a useful tool. However, I think as we start to progress through the industry, we'll start to notice a trend of possibly increased accidents, increased incidents, and just a lot of things that could be detrimental to the industry. That's not to say you can't train them properly. I think that's what we're really trying to push with some of our initiatives and some of these short-term certificates is we want to take some people to really train them on how to operate safely in the airspace system, how to use the drone without that GPS stabilization and teaching that. So what we've really done is we've tried to partner up with our built environment department there at Sinclair, who's really responsible for like civil engineering. They have surveyors coming out of that program, and we're really trying to work on developing something new with that, and a partnership and a closer knit relationship with that department to ensure that everybody's cross trained, everybody's facilitated trained, so that way we can take the surveyors who want to do drones as well and do that. So really working with them to be able to go to a company like JBL, other surveying companies, to really get that multifaceted, to be able to do those 3D models, to do those surveys, and do the drone technology, as well as working with them to get our drone pilots the knowledge and the skills to have the surveying experience, the mapping experience, right? And so giving them that background and that knowledge really helps set them apart and get them on at companies. Because I think the future trend we're going to see is that we're going to continue developing these internal programs, which is awesome. I'm super excited for it. And I really think that companies are going to start hiring our students, especially with our bachelor's degree in that, to lead those programs, to do what I did at programs, to do what one of our colleagues has done when he left, two of our colleagues who have left and gone on to survey companies to go help build those drone programs up. And they really have, like myself, like you, have that strong drone background. We have our degree in the UAS to help build that. We have the background in it to really get that training built up, to get the procedures built up, to get the maintenance built up, so that we can take people locally who can do different things and really make them the best people that they can do and the best training that they can have. So that's what we're trying to really like experiment and play with, because that's a trend that we've been seeing a lot. Because we were talking earlier before we started recording about how sometimes it's hard for students to find a job. That's like the number one question I get from students is, okay, like I know what a pilot does, I know what a maintenance tech. What do you do in the UAS industry? It's like, well, every facet of the industry and everything you see can be like usually applied to drone technologies in some way. They've been used for all kinds of stuff. So that's really what I try to tell them, and working with that, developing those partnerships, getting the training in those areas, as well as looking into possible apprenticeship with surveying companies and that, to bring them in to get trained up on that technology and release it out. And that's why I try to sell to our short-term certificate programs for the biology majors out there, for the agronomy majors who go out there. We've had students who started in the UAS and transferred into agriculture, and they've taken that to our local county where they're working for our soil management department, and they're bringing that drone technology in because they have that drone experience, and they're still going to school for some of that drone stuff, and they're still helping build that program. So they have that knowledge to build that out, which is really awesome, that we're really proud of, to help build our name behind that. But yeah, we're really working to try to sell that in not just our massive degree or the degree program, as of course we want to build that, but even just our short-term certificates, our technical certificates, where you can go and get that, pursue it, get the UAS, and then go on to another university or another college, because we have a lot of transfer agreements with local universities, Wright State University, Ohio State, Ohio University, some of those local ones, as well as University of Dayton, so that they can go and get a degree in something that might interest them more, such as biology, to where they can do, elephant herd tracking, wildlife tracking, help out the wolf population in Yellowstone, things like that. It's really, really kind of cool that we really try to like help students with. And that's when I talk to kids. I go to local high schools. I do a lot of outreach events to high schools, middle schools. I've even done elementary schools for kids, just to get introduced to the technology, because a lot of people have seen drones. You have a drone, I have a drone, like neighbor has a drone, or they've seen it, but we're really trying to teach them how to use it and how they can benefit like society and benefit our community with that. So it's really kind of cool working, just integrating all of that as well. So that's been the number one trend I've been seeing. I've been trying to follow the drone delivery stuff. It's kind of an area that's a little different right now with Amazon's wins and losses, and Zipline, as well as UPS, FedEx, and other companies who have their knowledge and that working experience with it as well. So, and then one massive trend I've been noticing is, like you were mentioning, precision agriculture, but not just that, the crop dusting, Part
Yeah.
137 operations. Holy cow,
Mhm.
that's coming up. Getting big. Very surprised on that. Originally, I didn't think a whole lot of it. Not because like it's very cool and everything else. It just the regulations behind it weren't opening up. But with the FAA opening up regulations last year, they really helped simplify some of that processes. I mean, again, granted, there's still some rough spots, but they've at least helped the industry a little more to help get that ball rolling in more areas and helping those farmers adopt that technology. So those are like the two massive trends that I see really in the UAS industry right now.
Yeah, agriculture is such a big industry. I think the amount of money that goes into pesticides and fertilizers and that type of stuff, especially using aircraft, airplanes. Um, you know, Drones have the ability to cut costs and just increase efficiency so much. It's really cool to see how that industry is completely evolving, with the use of drones. I remember a while back you told me one of your dream kind of jobs with drones is archaeology, and I've always thought that was something that was really cool and something I personally find interesting. Do you see any within the Sinclair program? Is there anything that has to do with archaeology? I'm assuming LiDAR and that type of stuff.
Yeah, we're delving into it. Like I said, I really do have that interest in archaeology. That was actually my senior kind of thesis when I got my bachelor's degree. Was kind of an archaeologist guide to drones at the time, which was kind of cool. Working with different cameras, we're slowly trying to introduce some of it to it. There is a lot of applications in it. I've seen it growing a little over the years. We got our eye on some projects. As far as implementation in some classes, we're trying to work into it mostly for just looking at sometimes crop health because you can see underground buried structures based off the plant health and to see if something's buried there. I know briefly we looked at doing burial mounds and flying LiDAR to get that as well. We're still trying to get, like I said, our hands on some LiDAR units in that, but we have some of the software to process some of that. So we use some of the free
Nice.
resources, some of the other
Mhm.
things that sample LiDAR data sets that companies have that they've shared with us willingly that we've been given permission to use during some of our courses. But really, we had a student who did a presentation on just building. What I want to say, archiving. So archiving historic building down in Texas. There's this old church, I think, historic church down there that one of the services, can't remember off the top of my name, but they flew it with a drone and they captured all the imagery of it. And that student really liked that idea and took those images and stitched them together to create a 3D model and a 2D orthomosaic of it as well to kind of preserve that and did a report on it during one of our classes
Wow.
as well as in some of our remote sensing classes that I've had, like talking about some of like these things of archaeology because I love the history. I love Greece, doing things like that in the old ruins that have been found over in Sicily, Greece, even like the Amazon forest that some of this stuff has been really utilized for. I got a student interested in that, and he did his final presentation on how LiDAR could be used for archaeology purposes in that. But we're trying to work with some different organizations in that to explore those opportunities. But those are in the very young phases of agreements and talks. So, but we're really excited for the future, and I'm hoping to, like I said, build up Sinclair as much as possible. So I'm really new there, been there almost a year now, but really just trying to get my feet under me still and get running, so that way I can start hitting it hard and bringing in some of this really cool stuff that we're interested in.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really fascinating. It's really cool to see some of the stuff that you're implementing and involving, your program. with the industry as well. So that's really, really cool. And it's kind of something similar, with Aero Velocity. We're starting this podcast to try to, help with brand recognition, but also my goal is to give people like yourself and other people in the industry a platform to share their, experiences, their insights, their expertise within the drone industry and beyond. So I appreciate you being on this podcast, being my first guest, and hopefully going forward we'll have more people, in similar, type of roles and throughout the industry that could share that background and kind of trends that they see going forward. So
Yeah, definitely. I really appreciate you having me on here. Yeah, so if you have any questions about Sinclair's program or anything like that, you can just reach out to me via phone or email. You can look us up online at sinclair.edu, look up the aviation technology department, and reach out to us that way. So we're accessible, available Monday through Friday. So and we're willing to do tours and that for local schools, even professionals who are just looking to see what the area is, because we're a completely open campus to explore and kind of walk around, which is really awesome.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and for anybody that might be interested in being on the podcast, feel free to reach out. You can contact me at will.gilland@aerovelocity.com, or on our website. There's contact us buttons on there. And, you know, stay tuned for the next episode. And Tommy, if you've have any suggestions on next people that should be on the podcast, let me know. And I think that will bring it to an end here. Once again, I appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you.